இது கடைசி செஷனுக்கு ஜாஸ்தி பண்ணிடும். குறைச்சிரு, இதை குறைச்சிட்டே கொஞ்சம் வால்யூமை கொஞ்சம் குறைச்சிரு. ஓம். वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ शारदा शारदाम्बोजवदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं सन्निधिं क्रियात् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् नमः प्रणवार्ताय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानानन्दशलाकया चक्षुः उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेशाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः भूकैलासे मनोज्ञे भुवनवनवृते नागतीर्थोपकण्ठे रत्नप्राकारमध्ये रविसदृशमहायोगपीठे निषन्नं संसारव्याधिवैद्यं सकलजननुतं सङ्गपद्मार्चिताङ्घ्रिं गोमत्यम्बा समेतं हरिहरवपुषं श्रीशङ्करेशं नमामि. हरि ओम्. Okay. I need a mobile or something. I don't know the time. Give me your watch. Let me know the time. I just keep on going. Okay. So we are on the finish line. 22 gurus are over. We have just two more gurus to complete this text. And if you reflect back on the last 3-4 days of our journey in this text, Uddhava Gita, what is very, very interesting and impressive to us is we need to develop a Sukshma Drishti. That is what I think the Avadhuta is actually telling us. All that we need is an eye which is a little more subtle. What happens in our daily life, forget Vedanta, even in our daily life, we just look at on the surface and make our own judgments of people, judgments of situations. judgment of what we see and so on. Whereas the fundamental message that we can take out of Uddhava Gita, this Avadhuta Gita, is we have to develop a Sukshma Drishti. What the Avadhuta see, we did not see. So the 24 gurus are only just to, as a representative, samples only. I think the deeper message that he is giving is we need to be a little more deeper in our thinking. We may observe so many things. We'll just leave it at that and go. Or if we just process it just at that level, we develop a very gross understanding or rudimentary understanding or misunderstanding. It can be any of these. It can be gross, it can be rudimentary, it can be totally misleading also. That is why a little bit of uh, deeper thinking is what he is communicating. I think that is one of the takeaway for us in any case. Whether we take Vedanta, we take the specific message that he is talking about, all those are one part of the story. I think the more fundamental story is be a little more synthesizing in whatever you see and learn. Can we be a little more deeper? Can we apply our mind a little bit more and then reflect on it? Who knows, it will open up something which we did not see at all. I think that separates a wise and a great person. So such people are called in our literature, these people are called Buddhaha, Kavihi. These words are there. Kavi, Muni, Buddha, Rishi. These are people who develop a deeper understanding of what they see. They don't see the surface. They make an effort to see through. So that is what I think the Avadhuta has brought. Every day we have been seeing the moon anyway. We are seeing the sun, we are seeing the moon, we are seeing this most of these objects. Python we may not see every day. We may have to go to some zoo or to the forest to see the python. But many of what he is talking is very day to day. While it did not connect us to the kind of things that he is talking about, it meant something, it was a very casual thing. The other message, which is equally important, which is a byproduct of, if you reflect on that issue rather than the topics and the messages inside, the other message that we get is, I think in life we have taken many things for granted. Many things we have taken for granted. That is why we don't think little more deeply. See, there is a temple in our street, like, we just take it for granted. So we don't take it very seriously, look at it deeply. Now we have come to a different place, so we apply it much more deeply. We are looking at the Vigraha, we are looking at what he is doing and so on. Many things that we do in life, we just take it for granted. So that itself is why we develop a very gross understanding of things. Just once we take it for granted, it is all there. What is there to worry about? A popular or a very frequent example for that is we have taken the Pancha Bhutas for granted. That is what we are doing. We think, air is there, water is there, Prithvi is there. So we just think they are all there. So why am I bothered about? Whereas he says, Akramanyapi. That's how the Prithvi sloka started. You are actually doing an akramana of the Prithvi. Why? You just taken it for granted. We don't see the holiness of every one of these. The Panchabhutas we have taken for granted. That's why, we don't care about the way we use water, Parisara Dushanam, so much of pollution that is happening, right? The way they cut trees, they just taken for granted. They don't understand. We all live in a very, very complex, interconnected world. That is what it is. Not just our Sanatana Dharma. If you go to any old civilization and then try to understand how they have perceived themselves vis-a-vis the world, they will be very similar. They have somehow understood that we all live in a it's a complex web of life. It's a complex web of life, all so interconnected. And if it is so interconnected, then there should be a mutual reverence. You can't take something for granted. There must be a mutual reverence. But somehow in our modern living, somewhere all these have been pushed to the background. We have replaced them with technology. We think technology is everything. Technology can do everything for us. So much so that today, what is happening is, if you ask the current generation of the youngsters, they'll seriously tell you, we don't need elders. Google is there. Google is enough. Everything is available. But I found, for a refreshing change, I found one person wearing a t-shirt. When I went to Cambodia, we were waiting at the airport to check out. So one fellow was standing in front of me. He had a t-shirt. He said, I don't need Google at all. My wife knows everything. So that was, for a change, I found a different t-shirt there. Whereas everybody says Google Mata. That's what they think. People also ask, why do we need satsangas? Why can't we just have videos are there? So much is available in technology, etc., etc. That is not what it is. Yesterday, that's why I said Kashi Yatra has to be done. While this Kashi Yatra is a higher plane, but you have to still do Kashi Yatra. In the same way, I think we need satsanga, because what transpires here will not transpire in a recorded. The same lecture recorded will not give this kind of effect. So Google can give everything. Google cannot give you wisdom. Google can serve you a lot of knowledge. Wisdom is likely the delta of, knowledge is there, but knowledge plus a delta is actually wisdom. That wisdom is not available in technology. There is a lot of learning which happens without being taught. The very presence is learning. That's why in our Indian tradition, I keep saying this, in the Indian tradition, learning is done by not even asking questions. Mauno vyakya prakatita parabrahma tattvam yuvanam. The Dakshinamurti is Vyakyana is Maunam. Vyakyana is Maunam, Mauno Vyakyam, Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam. Chitram Vadatator Mule, Vriddha Sishya Guroriva, Gurorastu Maunam Vyakyanam, Sishyastu Chinna Samshaya. All their doubts are destroyed. That's the meaning Chinna Samshaya. Chinnati means cuts or removes or destroys or whatever. How does it happen? It happens not because of the knowledge. It's because of the sanidhyam. There is something more than that's why if it is knowledge, then we can close down all shops, all colleges, we can close down all universities. People argue all that. That's not going to happen. No, now, AI has come, everything is available, you can record it and put it and so on and so forth. No, it's not that. People ask me, sir, this Gayatri Mantra, they are just, every tea shop they are playing. I say, let them play, it will have no effect. It will be like one of the light music. For a change, you will have change the track. Gayatri Mantra, by just listening while you are, going on a picnic, or while you are sipping a cup of coffee, in the background there is a Gayatri Mantra which is playing. Nowadays I find it in a lot of tea stalls. It is not the mantra as in terms of pada and ucharana. It is a certain ambience that transpires. Huh? Reverse the car also Gayatri Mantra. When you bang also Gayatri Mantra will come. That's what I am saying. So that is why in the Indian tradition, the Guru, the Sanidhya of the Guru is most important. Look at this particular thing I talked about on the other day. Varunam pitaram upasasara adihi bhagavo brahmeti sagumho vacha tagumho vacha tapasa brahma vijijnasasva tapo brahmeti. That's all the father told. Nothing else he told. He told only that much. 5 times he went. 5 times he gave the same answer. Tapasa brahma vijijnasasva tapo brahmeti. This is the Indian tradition. They don't give answers. If you go on an understudy in an ashram with the acharya for a few years, nothing. Because the teaching is in the silence between two words. The actual teaching lies in the silence between the two words in which the Guru and Sishya are there. Chandogya Upanishad, all these Upanishads have some beautiful ways of representing. You need deeper understanding. There is one Satyakama Jabali. This boy by name Jabali, he went to the Guru. The Guru asked, "Who is your father?" This is like asking your passport or your identity card. He said, my mother told that she doesn't know who your father is. This is what, that's all my father told me. That's why he was called Satyakama. He has a desire for Satya. The Rishi accepted him as a Sishya. You know what was the teaching for him? He gave him a few cows. He said, go and graze the cows. When it becomes 1,000, you come. How many years it will take for the cow to become 1,000, I do not know. The teaching was simple. Satyakama Jabali was told, go and graze the cows. You come back when the cows have become 1,000 in number. So after several years, one of the cow whispered on his ear, now we are 1,000. We are already 1,000 now. Then he comes back, he is a Brahmajnani. Over, teaching over. Like these kind of stories are there in the Upanishad. What it is trying to tell is it is not this transacting. This is useful. This is important. But it is a certain ambience in which we sit and then reflect all that. And there is something which is transpiring without the obvious between the Guru and the Sishya. That is how the teachings are very profound. And that is why you can never replace this Guru. I mean, you can bring any amount of videos. You can bring any amount of audios. Same thing about college education also. You can't replace the Guru there, I'm telling you, whatever you do. You can't replace. The same thing when it is done, because what you are hearing in a video is a Jada Padartha. What you are hearing now is a Chit Padartha. There is a difference between a Chit and Jada. A mic is a Jada. That is why this mic, actually, this particular mic would have, so far in 2019 they started, 5 years. This mic would have heard about 20,000 hours of Vedanta. Is it not? This mic would have heard 10,000 hours of Vedanta because it is sitting in front of great teachers. Yet it will not do anything. Because it is a Jada Padartha. It is not a Chit Padartha. So in the same way, so the Sukshma is the most important thing. So that is what these teachings are telling us. Yeah, that ambience makes you reflect. The ambience makes you think about it more seriously. So many things happen. So I think that is the message. Of course, there are these other messages which are added on the top of it. So the Avadhuta taking Yadu with him is the teaching. The Vaikari, the sound that is coming is not the teaching. Going with him is the teaching. Vishwamitra just took the two children, Rama and Lakshmana, with him. That's where the teaching is. Not what he told him. They are all auxiliary. He goes with him, there is a lot of teaching that happens. So in the same way, I think Yadu has got his teaching by just going with the Avadhuta. That's what it is. So we have seen 22 Gurus so far. The Panchabhutas, Surya Chandra makes it 7. Then you have the Pigeon. You have the Samudram. You have the Ajagara. 7 plus 3, 10. Then you have the 5 Indriya examples. Patanga, Matanga, Meena, Bringa, Kuranga. 15. Then this honey gatherer, 16. Right? Then we have the boy, Kuraraha, 18. Kumari, 19. The arrow maker, 20. Yeah? Pingala, 21. One more we saw, 22. I missed something. 22 Gurus. Sarpa. Last was Sarpa. So yesterday we ended with Sarpa. Actually, last is Sarpa. The snake, by just seeing the snake, we must understand a metaphor of life called life is best lived when you have a spirit of tenancy than ownership. Sense of entitlement is the biggest problem that we may actually face. So that sense of tenancy is a great, everything is in the mind. You can own a palatial house, but you should have a sense of tenancy in your mind. Everything is here. It is not there. That you owned a big house. That is why a beggar can be a lot more happier than a Raja. Because everything is here. It's not in the outside. Everything is here. So therefore, if we can develop that manobhava, I think that is a lesson that we have learned from Sarpa. So you have seen up to that. So now we'll see. Avadhuta walks him through two more remaining gurus to make his list of 24, which he said. So we'll see the next guru. So the next guru is Urnanabi. It is not Urnabi. Urnabi. Okay. Spider. Spider is the guru. So why spider is discussed in our Vedanta literature? It's a very important creature which we need to understand. Okay. Now, if any of you are aware, spider, you know how it makes that web? The spider, see, you have to make a web now. Let us think about making a web. Srishti is a Srishti Karya. Something has to be done. If you have to make a web, you need two things, as I was telling yesterday. First, you should know a web weaver. You need a web weaver, somebody who has the know-how. It's called the intelligent cause. Nimitta Karana. Right? Agency. If you have to make a very nice furniture, you need a carpenter. You one day cannot make a furniture. We will destroy all the wood. In fact, we'll start doing it, it will break in several ways, we'll throw it and go. That's all we'll do. We'll get so irritated by our inability to, do something. We'll just throw it and go. So first you need an intelligent cause, a nimitta. So there must be a web designer. The web designer is sitting at the center. That is the web designer now. Okay. So the nimitta karanam is required for any srishti. Then you need a upadana, the material. Yesterday I talked about it. So I'm just revisiting that again. You have to do anything, you need raw material. Right? If you have to, build a house, then you need mortar, cement, you need copper, wires, etc., etc. Wood is required, steel is required. All those are required. They are called upadana karana. So in our literature, in our thing, they say srishti, if you have to do, you need nimitta karanam and upadana karanam. The nimitta karanam is the instrumental cause or the intelligent cause. Upadana or efficient cause. These are all the words they use. You may read differently. That's why I'm telling all samana padas. They are not different. Intelligent cause, instrumental cause, or efficient cause. These are the three words they use. Different people use different. They mean, all of them mean the nimitta karana. Then you need upadana karana, which is the material cause. So in this particular case, the nimitta karana is the urnanabi, the spider only. The material, the spider spits out of its mouth. So now spider is both the nimitta karana and the upadana karana. That's what it is. Spider is both the nimitta karana and the upadana karana. That is how the web is designed. Then if it doesn't want it, it will actually consume it. I am told. I have not observed it, I only read it. If it wants to do away, close the shop in one place and move to another place, let us say, it will take it back. Maybe it becomes food for it, I think. In fact, we should be inspired by this. Our entire Srishti Karya is here. The Srishti of you and me, Srishti of the Jagat, Srishti of the Chaturdasha Lokaha, Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, all the seven, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Tala, Patala, the seven below, seven up, all follow, we can learn from this. That's why In fact, in Taittiriya I said, Annam Brahmeti Vyajanat, Annadyeva Kalbimani Bhutani Jayante, Annena Jatani Jivanti, Annam Prayanti Abhishambishanti, Tat Vijijnasasva, Tapo Brahmeti. That's what it is. Annam Brahmeti Vyajanat. We are all made out of Annam. How is it possible? What is the connection? That connection is there in the Anandavalli at the beginning. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam So Oshnute Sarvan Kamaan Saha Brahmana Vipaschiteti Tasmadva means Panchami Vibhakti. From there. Tasmadva Etasmad Akasha Sambhutah. Out of that Brahman came the Akasha. The first Panchabhuta required for anything is Akasha. If you want to put a building first, you need a square foot of space first. Akasha Sambhutah, Akashat Vayuhu. The second step is, in the space, the gaseous systems will develop. Akashat Vayuhu, Vayoragnihi. If you want Agni, you need carbon dioxide, oxygen, carbon monoxide, etc. That is what is Agni. I am using science to explain the Vedanta. That's why Vayor Agnihi, Agnirapaha. If you want water, you need heat. Otherwise, water will not come. It is a evaporation condensation cycle which is continuously giving you water. That is water. Water is going like this. It is evaporation condensation cycle. So you need heat. Agnirapaha. Abhyaf Prithvi. If you look at Prithvi, Prithvi means any solid material. It will, in fact, you should understand when you say Akasha, Vayu, Vayor Agnihi, when you say Vayor Agnihi, Agni will have Akasha and Vayu. I mean, Akasha and Vayu. Vayu will have Akasha also. Agni will have Akasha, Vayu and Agni. Apa will have Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha. Prithvi will have all the elements. It is a continuously adding element. That's how we have to understand. A plus B, A plus B plus C, A plus B plus C plus D, A plus B plus C plus D plus E. That is how we have to understand. Because Prithvi will have all the Prithvi will occupy a space. Okay. Prithvi will have gas. It's a process which solidifies, etc., etc. Prithvi will have heat because, when you break that's what they don't, what is nuclear power? They break the Prithvi, infinite amount of heat is coming out of it. A nuclear reactor. Prithvi will have Apa also. All these, then there is a physical matter. All of them put together is called Prithvi. Okay. Then what did the Brahman do? He say, Prithivyam Oshadayaha. From the Prithvi came Oshadi Vanaspatayaha. Sasyaha. Plant kingdom came. For that you need Prithvi. You cannot grow plant on this concrete. Even if you want to grow here, you have to put some sand there. You have to put some mannu. Oshadi Vanaspatayaha. Oshadi Vanaspatebhyonna. Okay? Prithivyam Oshadayaha. Oshadibhyonnam. Food comes only from plant kingdom. Food cannot come from anywhere. The primordial source of food is plant. Even if a person who eats non-veg 3 times a day, the animal that he eats will eat actually that. The food cycle starts there. It's always starts from plant only. Depending upon your level of sophistication, you can decide which part of the food cycle you have to draw. Okay? Oshadibhyonnam annat purushaha. Only when you eat nutritious food, reproductive sap will come and the eggs will form and then the fertilization process will start. Completely malnourished cannot procreate. That's why Oshadibhyonnam annat purushaha. So what is the raw material for us? Brahman now. Because it started from there. Raw material is Brahman. It started from there. So that is what the spider is now telling us. that I will bring I am the material cause. Right? That's what he says. So, Annam is actually Virat. Annam means Oshadi Vanaspateyaha. Because that only becomes Sasyas, Sasyas become food, food becomes nutrition, nutrition becomes something, and then we all come from food. That food is nothing but Oshadi Vanaspateya. If it is Oshadi Vanaspateya, it is Panjabhuta. If it is Panjabhuta, it is Brahman. That's why it's the Virat Rupa of Brahman. It is the Virat. Virat means this multifaceted manifestation of Brahman. That is called Virat. So it's a Virat Rupa. That is called Annam. And that's where we go back again. Whichever way you do, they say, no, sir, I am not burning. I am putting it in a box. You put it in a box, that will also go to Annam only. It may take a little more time. This is more efficient. That may take 30 years, whatever, 20 years, 30 years for that to decompose, and then finally everything should go back to Annam. Or you say, no, sir, these Parsis, they throw it on the silence of tower. That also becomes Annam only. It goes back, finally, Panchabhutas take it and go. That's what it is. Finally, Prayanti, Abhishambhishanti, Prayanti, Abhivishanti, Pratyabhivishanti, returns back, enters back into it. That is the meaning. Pratyabhivishanti, Abhishambhishanti, that's what it is. So, we are all, our source is Brahman. The Brahman expresses in the form of food. That food becomes nourishing for the parents. And through that, the thing comes. It is true of plant kingdom, it is true of animal kingdom, it is true of you also. It is common for everybody. Right? So, Brahman is the cause and Brahman is the executor. How do you know that? So, kamayata bahusyam praja yeti satapo tapyata satapas taptva idagam sarvam. So, he only did it. That's what my Upanishad is saying. He only did it. So, he is now the efficient cause. He is the efficient cause, he is the material cause. That is what this fellow is showing. Avadhuta said, moment I saw it, I understood the entire Srishti. The entire Srishti Prakarana I can understand by just looking at a spider. That's what he is coming to. Eko Narayano Devaha Purva Srishtam Swamayaya Samhritya Kalakalaya Kalpantamidamishwaraha Eka eva dvitiyo bhut Atmadharo Kilashrayaha. The entire Srishti Prakarana is written in this shloka. Ekaha Narayanaha Devaha Purva Srishtam Swamayaya. How is the Srishti done? Srishti is done through what is called Maya. Chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, if you read the first 10 shlokas, you will understand this. In one of the shlokas, he says, I am the Prakriti, I am the, I oversee the entire creation process. That's what he says. In the Rajavidya Rajaguhya, in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, first 10 shlokas, if you read, this will come. Actually. So, Ekaha Narayanaha Devaha Purva Srishtam Swamayaya. By what is called, because the Brahman is Nirguna. Nothing can, you can do nothing with that. It is Avyavaharikam. Brahman is Avyavaharikam. It cannot do any Vyavahara. Electricity cannot do Vyavahara. It can only supply an energy. Electricity, in fact, I always find electricity and Brahman are same. I constantly am able to see, this is my Guru. Electricity is Avyavahara, Sarvavyapi. You take all Brahma Lakshana, you will find it in electricity. Electricity cannot do anything. It can, but it can supply you the vitality. If you do something, it can come in and then show itself. Vyavahara is done by the fan or the AC or the light, or they are the Vyavahara Padas. Electricity is Avyavahari. Like that, Brahman is Nirgunam. Why it is Avyavahara? Because it is Nirguna. If Guna is not there, nothing is possible. In fact, if you read Bhagavatam, you don't have to go. Bhagavatam Tritiya Skandam. You read the third book of Bhagavatam, you'll find how the Srishti Prakarana is there. It says that when Brahman was like this, all the three gunas were in perfect equilibrium. Moment you disturbed it, this is what happens. Moment it is disturbed, then Sattva becomes more or Rajas becomes more, something becomes more, then it starts acting. If Rajas becomes more, some activity starts. That's how the Srishti starts. So, because Ishvara is Nirguna, Nirahankara, Avyavaharika, there is no sense of entitlement and agency for the Brahman, so there is no motivation to do anything and even usurp credit for what is happening. None of those are there. If you are Nirahankara, you don't have to work for the sake of, you'll work only for the sake of work, not for any other reason. Because this desire to take credit, desire to say, I did it, you must do the first respect to me, Mudal Maryade, you have to give to me first. I should be, all those are gone now. Therefore, if there is something good I can do, otherwise I can be in peace. Right? That is what it is. So therefore, Srishti is not possible. To do Srishti, then you have to bring the gunas have to be brought and churned. That's why Trigunatmika Maya. Maya is called Trigunatmika. The attribute of Maya is actually three gunas. She only brought it and then created the Srishti. So that's what it says, Swamaya. It is a Bhagavad Amsa. It is just branched out of it and created the desire. Swamayaya Purvam Srishtam. Okay. Purvam Srishtam Swamayaya. Kala Kalaya. Srishti, the notion of time starts only when there is Srishti. Time and space have no meaning without Srishti. And that is why Brahman is Gunatraya Titaha, Kalatraya Titaha, Avastatraya Titaha, Atitaha. In Ganapati Atharva Sirsha, all these will come. The Brahman is beyond the three gunas. The Brahman is beyond the three kalas. The Brahman is beyond the three avastas. Now you have to make things happen. You have to bring all those variables inside now. That's why Kala Kalaya. Kalpantam idam Ishwaraha. Okay? Kalpa. This word Kalpa, again, if you want to know what Kalpa is, go to chapter 11 in book 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a beautiful chapter. 11th chapter in the third book of Srimad Bhagavatam, because Srimad Bhagavatam talks about Srishti, no? Which is one of the Pancha Lakshanas. We have to talk about Srishti, otherwise it is not a Purana. And if we have to talk about Srishti, the notion of time has to come. Time makes sense only when there is a Srishti. So the Vidura or somebody asks, what is this time? That is a question in that chapter. He asks, what is this notion of time? Then there is a beautiful scientific experiment. There is one shloka there. Dwadasharda palon manam chaturbir chaturangulai swarna mashai krita chidram yavat prastajjala plutam. Beautifully, there is one experiment described there. You take a prastha. Prastha is a copper vessel. Okay? Dwadasha ardha. 12 divided by 2. Dwadasha ardha. 6. Pala. Pala is a measure of weight. Nowadays we don't use it. 40, 50 years back they were using. I remember when I was child in our house they talk pala. This so many pala, this many pala, like that they were using. Pala is a measure of weight. Nowadays we have gone to kilogram and all the grams and kilograms. So Dwadasha ardha pala unmanam. Take a copper vessel which weighs 6 palas. You can ask Google Mata, it will tell how much is grams is 1 pala. Some 40 is grams, I think. I don't remember. Okay. So 6 palas. Dwadasharda palonmanam. Chaturbihi. Also 4. Chaturbihi. So because of also, that 4 is talking about another weight. That's why also has come. Otherwise, this word also is not required. So it is talking about something which is 4 palas weight. Keep it. Chaturangulaihi. It talks about chaturangulas. Okay? Inch. That inch is not this inch. That inch is slightly different. That inch measurement is different. It is called Indus inch. Now only 1 inch is 2.54 centimeter. That's slightly different. Anyway, chaturangulaihi. So now there is a hanging free data of 4 palas weight and 4 angulas long. We don't know what that piece is, but it is there. Dwadasharda palonmanam chaturbir chaturangulaihi swarna mashaihi. Masha means needle. Swarna is gold. Swarna mashaihi. So this 4 pala weight and 4 inches long is for that golden needle. These guys must know a lot of science. You know why? Instead of telling the size of the hole, krita chidram. Chidram is to pierce. Now, very intelligent, they tell what is the size of the hole. They tell you the material, they tell you the length, and they tell you the weight. Because of specific gravity, you will now find out the diameter. I'm talking science now. If you tell me the material, weight, and length, I can tell you the diameter because that is called specific gravity, how you pack that material. So the diameter of the rod, they are telling indirectly. That's why you should not read shloka and then understand meaning. It makes no sense. So the hole that is to be pierced, the diameter of the rod which is used for piercing is expressed through the material, weight, and length. Specific gravity principle you have to use and find out how you have to pack that material so you get the size of the rod. Anyway. So dwadashadapalon manam chaturbir chaturangulaihi swarna mashai kritachidram yavat prastha, that prastha vessel jala plutam. So say they know Archimedes principle also. Put that vessel on a water table. Water starts coming in from the bottom, no? Because there is a hole. So moment the water starts sipping in, start as stop clock. Let it run. And see when it is full and is going to submerge. Stop the clock. That elapsed time is called nadika. This is the definition there. Okay? This is the definition of nadika. Now, in modern measurement also, what do? We just define meter. There is a way to define meter. It is there. The time takes to pass through or something. There is some measurement is there. How to? Huh? Yeah. So there is a definition to measure meter. We have now finalized it accurately. What is the length of a meter? Then what did we do? There is something called centimeter, which is 1/100th of a meter. There is something called millimeter, which is 1,000th of a meter. There is something called kilometer, which is 1,000 times the meter. In the same way, in that chapter, there are 80 shlokas, 78, 80 shlokas are there. In that chapter, after defining the nadika, then the Rishi goes on saying, so many nadikas make, 1/3 of this nadika is this, 1/5 of that is this, 1/100th of that is this. So he goes on both sides. The ultimate smallest measure is called Paramanu in time. From the Nadika, Paramanu is 1 divided by so many lakh something. I have that calculation somewhere. So the smallest measure of time in Srimad Bhagavatam is 3 into 1 point something into 10, some into 10 power minus 5 seconds. That is called Paramanu. 2.6. 10 power minus 5 seconds is the smallest measure in that chapter. What is the highest measure? Kalpa. I am waiting. The Kalpa only I am now talking. This Kalpa, you know what is this Kalpa? Then it moves this side. Smallest part is over. Then it says so much makes Muhurta. So many Muhurtas make Prahara. Prahara is 1/4 of a day time. 3 hours. 12 hours now. Ahas is 12. Rat is 12 on an average. So it says Prahara is 1/4, which is 3 hours. 2 praharas make a yama, 2 yamas make, all those calculations are there. Ahas, an equal amount of ahas make a rat. 1 ahas and 1 rat make a day. 7 days make a week. 15 days make a paksha. 2 pakshas make a masa. 2 masas make a ritu, 3 ritus make a ayana, 2 ayanas make a year. It goes on like that. Shloka goes like that. So we have got 1 human year. Now the real story starts. Then it says 365 days of a human year is equal to 1 day of a Pitru year. A Pitru. That's why we do Shraddha once in a year. We do Shraddha for our departed soul once in a year. We are giving them food daily. Because our 365 days is equal to 1 day for them. So it goes on. Then it says 1 year of a human being is a 1 day of a Deva, celestial year. And the Purana says 100 years. All of us will live 100 years. And it is a 360 day year, not 365 days year. It's called Savana. There are 5 Samvatsras in India. I don't know how many of you know. There are 5 Samvatsras. Vatsara, Samvatsara, Idavatsara. I don't remember the 2 names. One is a Jupiter cycle, one is a lunar cycle, one is a solar cycle. One is a constant cycle of 30 days. This uses that constant, it's called Savana. There's another year. Savana is 30 days, make a month for some calculation. So 1 year is 360. So 360 days is 1 day for a celestial. He will live for 100 years. So 36,000 human years will be the lifespan of a Deva. Now what it does is it goes further. It talks about the 4 yugas now. He says 4,000 celestial years equal to Treta Yuga. 3,000 celestial is Krita Yuga. 2,000 is Dwapara Yuga. 1,000 celestial years is Kali Yuga. If you do all the calculations, it will come to 4,32,000 into 1,000. 4,32,000 is Kali Yuga. 4,32,000. One cycle, this Yuga cycle will be actually 43,20,000. 1,000 Yuga cycles. Now you go to 1,000 Yuga cycles. 1,000 Yuga cycle is called Pararda, daytime of Brahman. 1,000 Yuga cycle is when he wakes up and does the Srishti. Another 1,000 Yuga cycles he sleeps, which is Pralaya. Sagasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyad Brahmano Viduhu. In chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita, it is there. 1,000 Yuga cycles becomes the daytime, 12 hours for Brahman. Brahman also lives for only 100 years. Then Brahma is changed, I think. The Srishtikarta Brahma. That is called Kalpa. So now you do your calculation. You go to some 10 power 19 something. Human years is 1 Kalpa. That is this Kalpa. Kalpanantam idam Ishwaraha. So our Puranas has a lot of science. Don't underestimate our Puranas. Good scientific thinking is also part of Puranas actually. That's why I wanted to, demonstrate this to you. Okay? Eka eva advitiyaha. He is one and one alone. Sarvam kalvidam brahma. Ekameva advitiyam. Chandogya Upanishad. Ekameva advitiyam. That's the word there. Ekameva advitiya. He is one and one alone. Abhut. Atmadaraha akilashayaha. He said, Avadhuta says, I just saw the spider. This much thought has come to me on seeing the spider. I simply saw the spider and this is what I understood. I understood, here is the entire Srishti Laya process is being shown to me here. Look at the deep thinking that he has. Okay? He says, Ekam eva advitiyaha bhut atma adaraha akilashayaha. He is the Sarvadaraha. This Adar card is nothing. This Maha Adar. Sarvadaraha. Atma Sarva Atmanam Adaraha. Ekameva Advitiyaha. He says, I saw all these. Keval Atmanubhavena Swamayam Trigunatmikam Samkshobayan Srijatyado Tata Sutramarindama. He explains the process. He says, He was Kevala Atmana Abhavaha. Kevala Atma, okay? Swamayayam Trigunatmikayam. He brought Maya, which has three gunas. I explained all that, no? The shloka is only saying that. Samkshobayan, okay? He agitates, that equilibrium is disturbed. Srijati Adau. Taya Sutram Arindama. Then the Maya took it forward. The thread is with the Maya now. The Maya took it forward. Right? So that is what is saying. Yatornanabhihridayat urnam santyatya vakratah taya vihritya bhuyastvam grasatyevam maheshwarah. How does it happen? I looked at the urnanabhi. Okay? He said, Yata urnanabhihi, the spider, hridayat urnam, it brought the urna is the material. He brought that material for weaving the web, no? Santatya, generate. Santati. Santati means offspring, no? Santatya means generate. Generated. Vaktrataha. It spitted through its mouth and got the raw material for doing this. That fluid only dries up into this thing. It's a sticky fluid which dries into the net that it is casting. Right? Taya vihritya bhuyaha, again to dismantle it. Taya vihritya bhuyaha tam grasati. It eats. It consumes it. That's what Brahman does. He comes out in our form, he takes it back also. We go back to Annam. From Annam we came and then we go back to Annam. That is what it is. He says, Taya nihritya bhuyaha tam grasati evam maheshwaraha. Oh, the Sakshat Maheshwara is exactly like Urnanabi. Actually, this is Urnanabi. It is not Urnabi. There is an error. Urnanabi. It's not Urnabi. I don't know why I typed it like this. Urnanabi, huh? Not Urnabi. Huh? Urna. So Urna is just the material. You should take it as Urnanabi. I think. Okay, the spider is called Urnanabi. Huh? Urna is that material which is used for making the Urnanabi. Okay, just can correct it. It is not Urna. Urnanabi as Guru. I think I've written it as Urna as Guru in the book, I think. Yeah, okay. So, just by seeing the spider, I am able to find out that something very interesting. The entire Srishti Karyam I am able to see now. Just seeing the spider. That is what it taught me. It told me, so it answered me, where from I am coming, where am I going? This is a fundamental question we have. Where from I came? Where am I going? He says, spider is telling me that. That we all came from there, that God particle, and then we go back to the God particle. In between, with our guna and all that, we keep doing something. This is in Mundakopanishad. Okay, in Mundakopanishad, same thing is there. Yatornanabihi srijate ghrannate cha. Srijate ghrannate cha. It puts out and takes it. Yata prithivyaam oshadayah sambhavanti. Just like the oshadi, all the plant come up from the earth. Actually, the earth is the cause for it. You may think the seed. Seed is only a hetu. That's why you put a seed here, the plant will not grow. You have to put the seed in the earth. So the real life comes from the earth. This is only potent. It is not coming from there. You have to put there. So just like the life comes from the earth, then after it is fallen, it goes back to the earth only. A faded plant lies there, right? Sambhavanti. Yata sataha purushat kesha lomanani. Right? Kesha and Loma both mean hair, but there is a difference. The hair in the head is called Kesha. The hair in other parts of the body is called Loma. It's a technical word. Both mean hair only for human beings. The hair on the head is called Kesha. The hair in other parts of the body is called Loma. So Kesha Lomanani, that's why it is using both. Kesha Lomanani. I mean, it is coming from our body. It shows the life expression. Tata Aksharat Sambhavanti Iha Vishwam. Just like you see, that everything appears to be inert. Nothing is inert. Everything appears to be inert. Earth appears to be inert. You just throw a seed, then you will know whether earth is inert or not. Right? So, in the same way, everything came out of Ishvara. That's what the Mundakopanishad is saying. That is how everything comes out. First example it gives is the spider. So, Mundakopanishad talked about the Srishti like this. So the spider is both the Nimitta Karana and the Upadana Karana. I already explained all that. And there is only a single source for the entire creation process. Right? The creation and destruction belongs to the same source. It is not X creates and then Y destroys, takes it away. It's all single unit only. Shiva, Vishnu, Maheshwara are only department names. They are all same. See, it is only called Antakarana. Sometimes we call it as Buddhi. Sometimes we call it as Ahankar. Sometimes we call it as Chitta. Sometimes you call it as Chitta, Buddhi, Manas, Ahankar. There are 4 names for the same Antakarana. It's the same. When you say, I have done it, it's all mine and I have to be respected, that time it is called Ahankar. When it instructs somebody to do here and there, tell the Indriyas, run away from this fellow, don't look at him, don't smile at him, shout at him, all that kind of things, no? That time it becomes Manas. Same fellow is now called Manas. Right? When it is actually analyzing between alternatives and then find out this alternative is better than this alternative, it is called Buddhi. When you are able to see somebody, moment you came in, and I said, Tyagarajan is coming. How did it happen? I have a memory allocation table. It's called Chitta. That is our memory. In fact, our memory has come down over hundreds and hundreds of generations, actually. The modern science also says that. It says the conscious part of your mind, the subconscious, they say, no? Subconscious is very, very vast. What it plays out is only your tip of the ocean surface. So our chitta is very deep. Adi Shankara, in one of his Bhashya, so beautifully explains all this. He says, there is a mother. Mother is feeding a child. The child is not eating, no? So the mother takes the child to the road. There is one cow going. This is a 2-year-old child. First time the mother look at there is the cow. So on seeing it, the child unwittingly opens its mouth, one gulp is gone in. This is how, the children are fed for first 2 years or whatever, right? So first day, there was a cow. And then the mother said, look at, there is a cow. And then this child out of curiosity looks at and then eats. That day it was a brown cow. Next day, he's a white cow, no? So next day, mother takes him out. That time white cow is coming. Adi Shankara gives this example. Now the child says, Amma, Amba. The child is saying, Amma, there is a cow. In modern pattern recognition, it is impossible. With one sample, you cannot determine that it is a cow. Because yesterday's cow had a black patch, today's cow did not have a black patch. Yesterday, cow had a brown skin. Pattern recognition is not possible. How did this child, Adi Shankaracharya asked this question, how did it find correctly that it was a cow? He argues, you have so much of memory with you over several janmas. This janma, you are seeing the cow for the first time, but you have seen cow 1,000 times because you have taken so many janmas. That is how he explains. Yeah, of course. Yes. It is called vasana. That is called, what is vasana? Vasana. See, it is like, let us say we set up a shop. Finally, we wound up everything. When you wound up everything, you take all of them into something. Finally, this is the moral of the story, right? Even when you tell a story, finally we end up with what is called a moral of a story. So I spent one Janma. I did so many things in that Janma that made what I am. When the Atman goes out of this world, it takes that. It is dematter. It is not a material, it is demat. That's why it's called Linga Sarira. See, we have three Shariras. We have three Shariras. Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Linga Sharira. The Linga Sharira is what? Linga Sharira is all your vasanas and karma. So the Linga Sharira is like that. When you take the next Janma, the Linga Sharira enters them. So you continue from there. No, we remember very little. Who said we don't remember? I know of episode in our village, I remember. Near our place, one lady came and said, I lived here. So it is there. It is not. No, many people remember. I'll give you another example. You explain this. In 1967 to 69, in Bangalore, there was this Gotu Adyam Narayana Iyengar. His grandson is Ravi Kiran, who does Gotu Adyam. Right? I remember, I know very well, 67 to 69, after Narayana Iyengar finishes his Gotu Adyam, this child is 2 years old. They bring the child to the stage. Narayana Iyengar will do trying. The child will find 300 ragas. Which school did it go? There is one girl in Tamil Nadu. At the age of one year and 1 month, it has just started 1 year and 1.5 years. Kids start talking only at that time, no? This girl was murmuring. It has just started talking, it is murmuring. Nobody understood. What is this girl? Something all the time telling. Finally, they found the girl is reciting 1330 Tirukkural. Who taught? Where did she go? All child prodigies can be explained. Which means we brought it. Ramana Maharshi did not become a great Maharishi now. We are all going through that process only. Our vasanas are getting cleaned over time. That is why we have to do satsanga. The next edition may be better than this edition. Like that. So it is all like that. We have enough evidence to explain it. Science cannot explain anything. Talking of that, since you asked it, I must tell you, talking of that, look at this creation process. Understand the creation process as science says and as we say. We have said like this. You know what science is saying? No. World is a product. So it has to come from somewhere. Since it's a product, it has to come from somewhere. Because there must be something, right? So the question is, who is the creator now? Who is the, Nimitta Karanam? Right? Modern science says, don't ask that question. Because I don't have answer for it. Because in their notion, science has no God. The notion of God is not there in science. So they cannot answer who is the creator. They declare it as a state of no information. So we don't know the cause of the world. Yeah. They talk about what is called singularity. They have also come to Eka Advitiyam Brahma. They use the word singularity now. Everything has come out of one, then they say 1,000th of a second what happens, 100th of a second what happens. They give a real Mayajal explanation to that. That's what science is attempting now. Okay? But there is a difference between even the evolution process is different from science and Vedanta. For example, why are the stars formed? Science will say, don't ask why. Let us find out. We don't know. Why is life possible in certain planets? Just like that. Why stars are formed? Just like that. Okay? Why are human beings born? I'm not asking how. Please see. You need to understand. There is a question called how, what, and why, and who. There are 4 questions. The most profound question is who. Science cannot answer who at all. Question we are asking is who actually, not really why. Why, how, what, and all science can explain. Science cannot explain who. That's why they are stuck. If you find a very beautiful furniture, very exquisite furniture, Will you ask, is there a carpenter? Or you will ask, who is the carpenter? Nobody asks, is there a carpenter? We know that moment there is a beautiful furniture here, carpenter is there. Science cannot answer who is the carpenter of this world. They have just, because they just let it. That's why Nuchur Swami very beautifully said, I remember in one of the lectures, he said, when the apple fell, Newton only asked, how did the apple fall? If, on the other hand, if Newton chose to ask a question, who fell the apple? He would have become a Brahmajnani instead of a scientist. That who is a profound question. In our life, learn to ask who. Waste all our time. Why did it happen to me? What has happened? Throw this what, how, and why. Replace it with who. Who will take you to the Brahman? Why is it happening to me? You don't ask. Who is doing this to me? You will have a Sharanagata Bhava. Because you'll understand there is a larger force. You can't even explain, but it is happening. So who is a very profound question. How, why, what are okay. Therefore, Vyavaharika. A spiritual person must always ask who, not how or what. I mean, that's okay. That's for a scientist. Who is a very great question. So this who question, modern evolution, cosmology, cosmogeny, they cannot answer who. Whereas the Upanishad has modeled it. It said it is a primordial source, is Brahman. We are comfortable answering it that way. They are simply saying, don't ask that question, leave it. Omitted portion. Yeah, out of syllabus. So that is the difference between. So for all these who question that you may have, modern science has only one answer, don't ask me. So what I am saying, science is useful. I am not undermining science. But I want modern people to understand the limitation of science. Science is useful, but science is not everything. Modern people foolishly think everything is science. It's utter nonsense. Science has serious limits up to which we can use it. You can get better gadgets, you can go faster, all that you can do. But if you go to the extent of saying science is everything, which the Western society is saying, we should not say that. We have a responsibility to say there is something more than science. That is what it is. Okay. Yeah, that's the reason. Exactly. That's the reason. Chitta is the data table with us. That's why they say Chitta Brahma. No? Chitta Brahma means file allocation table is destroyed. In a computer, file allocation table is gone, data gets wrongly mapped. That's what when hard disk crashes, that's what happens. FAT is destroyed. So there are some people who are able to painstakingly reconstruct the FAT for a fortune for you and give it to you, whatever. So this is our FAT. Chitta is the one which carries all our impressions over generations, over janmas. That's why Chitta Shuddhi. You're right.
Science so progressive and spirit just good that it will be destroyed.
No, spirituality requires no development. Spirituality requires only understanding and experience, no development. Science requires development. They have to say something now and disprove it and say something else a little later. Again disprove it, say something else 10 years later. So this is white screen. Science is the movie. Spirituality is the white screen. On the white screen only you can play the movie. Keep on changing the scenes, but understand the white screen. That's what it is. Okay. The last guru in his list is Gita. So-called Larva. That process is shown in this particular figure, right? Now, what I understand, I will come to the shloka, but before that, let me sort of qualify it. What they say, you have seen the wasp make a small little house with the mud. The wasp, no? So in our literature, it is often told, that is what is coming here. It is often told the wasp will come and place a worm there, inside that. And it will keep on stinging it. This is what is told in our literature. So the wasp keeps on stinging and that the other one becomes a wasp. This is what is told in our literature. Although nowadays in scientific thing they are saying that's not true. They are saying that may not be necessarily true. So therefore, I do not know whether it is a verifiable kind of a thing, but we can take that metaphor. We can go up to the metaphor. It is intended for a certain metaphor. I think only that much we should take, because currently they say that doesn't seem to be true. That is not how the wasp is made, like that they are saying. Although our thing says that it picks up a worm, places it within that house made of mud, no? So the wasp believes the worm will emerge into a wasp and it keeps on stinging. And the worm, this is what the story is. The worm gets frightened the moment it sees the wasp. This is the Sishupala problem. You keep thinking about Krishna all the time, you become Krishna. That is the message coming. I have already jumped to the message. The message is Smarana Shakti, Smarana Diksha. This is called Smarana Diksha. Smaranam Kirtanam, Navavida Bhakti, Smaranam is one, no? Smaranam Kirtanam, Archanam, Pada Sevanam, Atma Nivedanam, Smaranam is the first. So here, the message that Avadhuta is bringing is the power of Smaranam. That's what it's actually coming to. Although science says that doesn't seem to happen that way. So anyways, we should take only the metaphor. And only take the metaphor and then, make use of it. So,
It's big. So it's that
is
fresh food when we
yeah. So they have just put the story in a yeah.
So that's why that's thing.
Anyway, it takes that story in a very crude sense. That's why we should take the story only as a metaphor rather than exact reality. I wanted to qualify it before we get there. Yatra yatra mano dehi dharayet sakalam dhiya sneha dveshad bhayad vapi yati tat swarupatam. Yatra yatra manaha dehi dharayet sakalam dhiya. This dehi. Deha is different from dehi. Dehi is the one who is residing in this deha. That dehi, when it fixes its mind on something, yatra yatra manaha dehi dharayet sakalam dhiya, entire thinking is all the time about, which is called smaranam, no? That is the smaranam. Nitya smaranam. Okay? Dhiya. And then there are three qualifications given here. That you remember for whatever reason. For sneha, okay? For dvesha or bhaya. Right? All the three you see in Sri Krishna's life. Sneha is Uddhava and Kuchela. Uddhava, more importantly, Uddhava's bhakti is Sneha. So they are all Sneha. Okay? Dvesha is our friend, Shishupala. So Kamsa is Bhaya. Kamsa is not Dvesha, Kamsa is Bhaya. Dvesha. Okay? So Snehat, Dveshat, Bhayadvapi. The in issue there is Smaranam is a very great way of bhakti. That's why of the Navavida Bhakti, first Smaranam. Hiranyakashipu all the time thought of only Narayana because he was so bothered. This boy is all the time talking about Narayana. That bothered him. So it is the Smarana Shakti which got him finally for whatever reason. Okay? So it is all these are Smarana. Smaranam only. Snehatva Dveshatva bhayatvapi yati tat swarupatam. He will become yad bhavam tad bhavati. It's Upanishad Vakya. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. Brahmayeva brahmavid bhavati. That's how Mundaka Upanishad ends finally. The last closing mantras in Mundaka Upanishad says, Brahmayeva brahmavid bhavati. A knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. That's how Mundaka Upanishad ends all the discussion finally. Brahmayeva brahmavid bhavati. So that is what he's saying. He's saying, moment I saw this, I remembered that the power of Smarana Shakti. Okay? So he gives. Kita Peshaskratam Dhyayan Kudyam Tena Praveshitaha. The Kudi is that house. That Kita has gone into that house, placed by the wasp, whatever. Yati Tatsam Tatsatmatam Rajan Purvarupam Asantyajan. Although it did not give up, that's what the story says, although it did not give up its Purva Rupa, it became like that. That's how it is saying. So you should take the metaphor. Inside what happens, we know. Just an external appearance and the metaphor that we are taking. But the point is, the moral of the story that we are talking about is Smaranam is very, very, very important. Not only for Bhakti. What you remember, what you are able to constantly remember is what it is. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, in the 17th chapter, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga, but you know what is the opening statement Krishna says? Shraddha Mayam Ayo Purushaha, Yeya Shraddha Sayeva Saha. Every one of us is, you know what? We are nothing but a bundle of Shraddha. Our Shraddha determines who we are. Because that is whatever we do in life is a function of the Shraddha. Shraddhamayo ayam purushaha, yeya shraddha sayeva saha. That is what says in 17th chapter of Gita, third shloka, I think. It is the third shloka. Shraddhamayo ayam purushaha, yeya shraddha sayeva saha. That's like, what we keep constantly thinking, we will become like that. The Ambarisha Puranam is also like that. The Gajendra Moksham is like that. It's all talking about, so now the question is, then people say, oh, this is very simple, sir. I'll do all mischief. Finally, when I die, I'll say Narayana. They understand this Ambarisha. That's not like that. And the story is like that. It doesn't mean if you do all kinds of mischief, at the end of what you die, you only think about the ecosystem of mischief. If you are all the time bothered about money, all the time talking about which gives more return, less return, when you die, you will only think about only what returns will come from where. With that thought only, we will die. That's why Smarana Shakti, Sat Smaranam is very important. That's why in Mukundamala so beautifully he says, Raja, this, what is this? One of the Alvar, no? Kulasekar Alvar. Kulasekar Alvar is a king of the 12 Alvars. He wrote a very beautiful piece called Mukundamala. Bhakti abhi chotto. It will drop by drop, you will get Bhakti if you read it. Such a beautiful Mukundamala. So this, in that he says, Prana Prayana Samaye Kapavada Pittaihi Kanta Avarodhanam Smaranam Kutaste. He says, I will remember you now. I will remember you now only. Why? Because when Prana Prayana Samaye, when the prana goes, there will be a traffic jam. Kanta Avarodhanam. The passage is all, there is a traffic jam. Kapavada Pittaihi. Prana Prayana Samaye Kapavada Pittaihi Kanta Avarodhanam Smaranam Kutaste. How can I remember you at that time? I remember you right away when I am hale and healthy. That's what the shloka says. Chintayami Hariye Vachandanam. There are many like that actually. Why? Bhagavad Gita chapter 8. Read the first 10 slokas. It is only about the art of dying. I call it as art of dying. Art of dying is more important than art of living. Extremely important. You should have a very peaceful death. That's the goal of life. If you ask me, sir, what is the goal of life? Not make money, power, or nothing. There is only one goal of life. Art of dying. Kavim Puranam, there is a very beautiful sloka. Anoraniyan Mahato Diyan. All those will come in that sloka. In that only in chapter 8 he says, Tasma Sarveshu Kaleshu Manusmara Yudhyacha Mayyar Pitamano Buddhihi Mame Veshyasina Samshayah Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Manusmara. 24/7, let it be a TSR running. Memory resident program running all the time in your computer called mind, which is Daiva Chintanam. Let it run in that background music. You do whatever you want to do in your life. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha mayyarpita manobuddhihi mameva yeshyasi nasamshayah. That's what he says. Chapter 8 is the chapter in Bhagavad Gita which talks about the art of dying. Huh? All those are coming to this. The only trick that is, we should not wrongly understand it. When you die, Narayana will never come out your mouth unless you keep thinking about it all the time. That is the catch. We have to know that catch. Then all of that fall in place. You see, Bhagavad Chintanam is very important because the Anti Prayana Kale, right? He says, Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat, Bruvor Madhye Pranamavesha. That's all that he says in chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita. We should slowly cultivate that. So 24 gurus are over with this. The last guru is the Gita. The Gita tells you that Smarana Shakti is very good. Cultivate that. It will be good for you because you will become like that. So we have to clean up our vasanas. Vasana Kshaya must happen. So you have to clean up the vasanas by Sad Smarana. That is why Satsanga, Nama Sankirtanam. 1 hour you do a prayer, half an hour in the morning, let's say half an hour in the evening. You do it, you'll find that half an hour, it takes you from the world. It does a Bhagavad Chintanam. And that has value when you practice it for a long time. You can't do it today and ask for tomorrow morning and all that kind of thing. In fact, in spiritual journey, first of all, please don't ask a question. I have put so much effort, why I have not changed? That means you have taken, instead of 2 steps forward, you have taken 4 steps backward. You should never ask that question. Yen kadan pani seidu kidappade. Ramalinga Adigalar. My job is to keep doing. Whatever has to be done, I will do. That's what Ramalinga Adigalar said, You have to do what you have to do and leave it at that. Don't evaluate, don't verify the efficiency, don't do key performance metrics, KPI, all that. The corporate mindset, leave it when you come into spirituality. Profiteering, doing it efficiently, smartly doing it fast, all those are antithesis to spirituality. This is all about slow and be there. It is about being. The being will be more important than becoming. It is not becoming, it is being. Being is the most important thing, not becoming. Becoming and all is a different thing. It is being. And it may take its own time. The God knows, He only brought you here. He is only in your form. He knows when to go back. Why are you breaking your head? You focus on the process, the rest will all happen. So after doing all these, there are a few slokas which the Avadhuta told, sort of in a concluding way, where you said, you are the 25th Guru. You are the 25th Guru. All the time I was showing, each one of us is our own Guru. He wants to say that. Because now we have developed a capability. Whatever we see, we know how to look at it deeply. So that you can do for yourself also. Why you should look out? That is why this becomes Kashi. Instead of looking at Kashi there, it becomes Kashi here. It is a certain way of thinking deeply, no? So he ended with 2, 3 shlokas as a matter of kicking our imagination. Okay. Dehyo gurur mama virakti viveka hetuhu bibratsva sattva nidanam satatartyudarkam. Okay. Tatvanyanena vimrshami yata tatapi पारक्यमित्यवसितो विचराम्य संगः विचरामि पारक्ये पारक्यम इति अवसितः विचरामि असंगः. He asked him, no, how did you go so aloof? He said, I go aloof because I have also learned from my own body. That also taught me something. He says, Dehaha Guruhu Mama. He says, my guru, one more, my guru is my own body. Why? It is virakti, viveka hetu. Look at the choice of the word. Your body can help you to go into virakti or viveka. It all depends on how you are able to see a certain thing. Virakti, viveka hetu. Okay? Why? Because sattva nidanam, birth, death, all these are happening to my body. Sattva is existence, nidanam is death. All satata and all these are all happening. So these events that I'm seeing that is happening to myself is my guru now. Because it helps me to develop a sense of discrimination. Okay? It can be, if I have the right attitude and understanding it, it can become a viveka hetu. Otherwise, it may become virakti hetu. But it is a guru. My body itself is my guru. Okay? Okay. Tattvani anena vimrshami. This tattva of the body, that the body is of this nature. It will, come and it will go, it will die, it will drop off, etc. It is actually the basis on which you can have virakti and hetu. All these, when I am able to think, vimrshami. Vimrshami means deeply inquire. Yata tatapi parakyam iti avasitaha. Okay, vicharami asangaha. When I keep think about it, and it is parakyam. It is not even mine. I understand about this body. It is not. That's why it goes off after some time. It comes and then it goes off after some time. So it is not mine. All these reality of my deha makes me think deeply, and they are my gurus. Now he is not telling how. He has now given you training. He says, you keep doing it now. He only says, there, my deha is also my guru. Only because of that, vicharami asangaha. I don't get involved in anything. I keep on going like that. That's what he says. Then, Jayatmajarya Pashubhritya Grihat Tavargan Pushnati Yat Priyachikishya Vitanvan Swante Sukritram Avaruddhadanahat Sadehaha Srishtwasya Bijam Abasidati Vriksha Dharmaha. He says, when I thought deeply about my body, what is this body, what is happening to this and all that, I am able to align it to Vriksha Dharma. The Dharma which governs the trees. What is that Dharma? The Dharma is, we do not know whether the jackfruit tree came from the jackfruit seed or the jackfruit seed came from the jackfruit tree. We don't know. Right? Bijasyantirivanguro jagadidam pragnirvikalpam punaha. In Dakshinamurti Stotram. Bijasya iva anguraha. The small plant angura is actually inside a seed. Bijasyankura. Pragnirvikalpam punaha. Something did not exist, something suddenly came. My body, I understood this whole body dynamics from Vriksha Dharma. That's what he ends by saying. Srishtva asya bijam avasidati. A tree sheds seeds and dies. I also shed seeds and die. What is that seed? That is my karma. That's why I'm coming back. That is the karma. My seed is my karma. I have already seeded my next janma now. Prarabdha karma, that sanchita karma is there, no? Right? So he says, Jaya Atmajaha Atmajartha Pashuhu Britya Grihapta Vargan. Jaya Atmaja, okay? Atmajartha Pashuhu Britya Griha Apta Vargan. These are all different relatives. Na? Jaya is wife. Okay? Atmaja, daughters, children, whatever. Atmajaha. Okay? Artha, which is, there should be double agraha there. There should be double agraha there. Artha, which is the wealth. Pashu, cattle. Britya, workers. Okay. Griha, house, etc. Apta Vargan, friends and relatives and people who are conducive. Pushnati, I grow. I set up an establishment. When I take a janma, I set up an establishment and develop all these. Okay. Priya Chikirshaya. With a lot of fondness and a lot of effort, I do all that. Swante. At the end, I actually shrink everything and drop my seed and go. That's what it says. Okay? Krichram avarudhya adanaha sahadeha. Finally, you give up everything. Okay? Srishtva asya bijam avasidati. Avasana is rest. I told you, no? Avasane visarganiyaha. When give a pass. So we pass. Death is a pass. Death is only a pass. We'll come back again because we already sown the seed. He said, I saw the tree and I understood what is happening. Vriksha dharma. That's what he says. He said, on seeing, I contemplated about my body, the kind of things I am doing with my body, etc., etc. I also saw the tree. Now I understood. All that I did. Jaya, I did. Atmaja, I did. Arthaha, Artha, Pashu, Britya, Griha, Apta Vargan, Pushnami. All I nourish, everything I did. Srishtva asya bijam avasidati vriksha dharma. Finally, with all that, I drop off everything and I plant my seed for future and go. Punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam. I will come again. I am seeding and gone. That's what I understood on seeing my deha and what I do with my deha. What are all the things which I did with my deha, I am able to get inspired by seeing all these. That's what he says. See, our body is the greatest guru, I am telling you. Our body is the greatest guru if only you become very reflective. See, there was one Ramatirtha in Lucknow, North India. People know him. He was a professor of mathematics in University of Lahore. At the age of 28, at the age of 33, he passed away. He was as powerful as Swami Vivekananda. I have his 7 volumes in the Wood of God Realization. These books are very cheap. Huh? I got it for 150 rupees. Calico bound, not paperback. In the Wood of God Realization, I have 7 volumes. Beautiful. It's very powerful. He also went to US. Same time when Vivekananda went. And his lectures, people, we are fortunate. Somebody has taken a transcript of his lectures, that 7 volumes are there. Very beautiful. Some of them are very powerful. I often don't read. 3 volumes I have read. The 4 I have yet to read. 3 volumes I have read, I have marked, I have all that I have done because such beautiful things. Okay. I will narrate one from that. I don't remember the full thing, but I will narrate to tell you how, if you become reflective, there is no limit to what you can learn. One of the lecture, he says, understanding oneself. That is the title of that lecture. I think it is volume 2 or volume 3. I think I saw it. If you want, I can send you a soft copy of it. A few I have actually taken out and I have distributed. So we'll put it. I will. You have it with you? Which did I know? Maybe. I will. You check with me. We will put it. You should have the benefit of reading that. It's very beautiful. It goes like this. One, he explains understanding yourself. He explains so beautifully. He creates a situation. One princess came. A prince came. One prince came. So the prince wanted to know about God. He's a God man. He said, that's how the lecture starts. He wants to know God. Then Swami Ramatirtha says, you want to know God, you want to see God, no? Send your visiting card. Then I'll place it before the God and then he may, if you want to see some big people, we normally give a visiting card, no? Oh, okay, this person, ask him to come in. Like that he starts. He says, give your visiting card. Tell me who you are. Then he says, I am the son of son. No, I didn't ask that. First, he starts with the normal thing, date of birth, CV, EV, that kind of things. Okay? No, I didn't mean it. I didn't ask that. Who are you? Then this boy gets a little, young boy. He gets a little confused. Then he says something. Then he asks, did you have your, what did you do today morning? He asked. Then he said, oh, I took bath and I had a food or something like that. So this conversation goes like this. He actually shows, first he said, who is digesting? He asked, you know how many process, you know what is happening to yourself? He said, I don't know. Who is digesting? He didn't know. Who is excreting? He asked, there are so many processes running, who is doing it? Because if people say, I am in charge of passing the stools, then there is something called enema is never required. Because I can decide it is as though there is a switch and a motor. You can't do anything. By God's grace, things happen. If God, Vaishwanara is sitting inside, actually, if Vaishwanara for some reason decides not to work, then the doctor can inject some chemical. Doctor also can only inject chemical. Whether the stools will move or not, doctor also. Most of the treatment doctor doesn't know. That's why very experienced doctors, they say we only treat, we don't heal. He can't heal, he can treat. Meaning throw some chemical into your body and see what happens. Generally it should work. When it doesn't work, they will say they don't know why. You know, I got hypertension at the age of 28, 29. Casually, one day I went. Okay, one day I went casually. My pressure was 200 by 130. They asked me sit. I went to, Manipal Hospital, which was 18 kilometers from Banarghatta Road, where I was. I organized actually, I was the chairperson welfare at that time. So I thought health checkup must start. So that day I also went. So the big doctor came because I was a dean, say all that they did. They checked my pressure, it was 200 by 120. They said, sit in the corner. 4 hours I was sitting. They first asked, how did you do? I said, I drove the car and said, sit there. For 4 hours I'm sitting. These fellows are not letting me go. And then after 4 hours, they checked again. It was 200 by 116 or something. Nothing changed. Then he said, you slowly go back home. Then he gave me a series of tests. All that I did. After 2 days, I went again. Doctor said, you have essential hypertension. These medical terminologies are very fancy. Huh? What it means is they don't know why I got hypertension. So they call it as essential hypertension, which means you will have only hypertension, nothing else. Something like that. There are hundreds of such medical conditions in which they don't know. While they are treating a lot of diseases, what I mean to say is you generally throw chemicals. Rest is God's work. It's not your work. Anyway, so in this story, he goes on and on and on like that. Do you know this? Do you know that? Then yes, did you have a good sleep? Slowly take him to Sushuti. Did you have a good sleep? The boy said yes. He said, how do you know? What were you doing? He said, I was not there. Then he asked, what audacity do you have to say you had a good sleep? You said you don't know anything. On what basis are you saying you had a good sleep? So slowly, that entire lecture, if you read, some 10, 12 pages only. You will get a sense of how to understand what his lectures were like that. So what I'm saying, the human body itself, if we are willing to reflect deeply, many things, doctors, I wonder why doctors are not. Doctors must be the highest philosophers. Because, look at, I keep saying this. A lady gives child to a birth to a child, right? After the child is born, in a matter of about 3.5 to 4 hours, the uterus reduces to 1/100th of its size. I can bet you science cannot find a material of that plasticity till they will not find. Such a bag becomes like this. What is this God's creation? Should we not ask who created this? The bag shrinks to in less than 8 hours. No known plastic material which has such a creep. First of all, to carry a weight like that for 9 months, it will tear, first of all. If it doesn't tear, it will not shrink. You have your, you put one thing in a bag and then it is hanging for some time. After you take it, the size is like that. We are seeing it, no? I'm just giving an example. No, this crust in your toe, no? This crust in the toe. One doctor told me, I was talking to one doctor. That doctor told, if this crust modifies by 0.5 millimeter, the curvature, slightly, he said, you will fall. You cannot stand. You cannot stand. You will fall. We have taken everything granted. You don't know how complex this system is. You will fall. This small piece of lump, such a small piece of lump, falls 256 times in a matter of a week or 10 days or something. And it becomes the most complex organ that we have, which is called heart. With complex valves and chambers, etc., etc. A small, who is sitting inside and folding it? We do not know. Who is sitting inside and folding it? Even if somebody is sitting in and folding it, who gave the training? Which class did they attend? There is liquid here. That liquid, 0.1 ml, if it dries up, vertigo. You will just finished. Every square, every inch, millimeter of your body, if you do what is called meditation, you will have no doubt there is somebody called God who is sitting inside. Science can come nowhere near, I am telling you. Science cannot come anywhere near this. For that, they are beating their chest so much. They are useful. I have a lot of respect for science. I will not put them on the darbar and on the pedestal. That I will not do. If you ask me to do, I won't do. I have a lot of respect for science, but I will not put them there. Yeah, they are not even scratched the tip of the iceberg, according to me. So Deha can be a guru. If we think of every part of our life, every part of our body, etc., and then reflect, why is it happening? What is happening? Who is behind it? If you ask, right, you have a small micron thickness. Millimicron, hair is so thin. You have one piece of hair on your tongue. What happens? You become restless. Either you automatically generate saliva, you spit it. If it's not coming, at least you put your hand, take it out and throw. Until then, you are not settled. No? Why is it happening? Who is doing it? More than why, who is doing it? Or we took some food. Food poison, health, alwa. You take food and sometimes there is food poisoning. You know what happens when the food poisoning happens? Either if it is in the smaller intestine, you will throw it out, vomit. If it passes into the larger intestine, you will have a dysentery. If both are not possible, you will have a fever. Then, what is fever? There is a battalion of army coming. Who is sending the army? You get into high fever. Then you try to get some chemical in and sort it out and all that. Right? Who is doing it? And such a micron thickness hair can create so much of discomfort to you. Is it not a very complex process? It is done by what is called Udana Vayu. See, we have Pancha Vayu, Pancha Prana, Udana Prana. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. Then Brahmane Swaha. We have 6. You know why we say that before we eat? Because these 5 fellows, in Prashna Upanishad, you have to read the 3rd chapter to understand it. In Prashna Upanishad, chapter 3, the question was simple. What are these pranas? One student asked, what is it? You know what is the answer? The Rishi Pipalada gives? He gives the first lesson of management. He says, delegation, decentralization is important. You cannot handle everything by yourself. Just like a king cannot administer a country, he will have departmental heads. In the same way, the pranan will first distribute itself into 5 and then delegate the authority, out of which there is something called, Vyana. Vyana is the courier's logistics and distribution. We have 100 into 101 into 72,000. Take that number. Rishi is saying, you have 100 main pipe. From each of the 100, there are 101 pipes. From each of that 100 into 101, there are 72,000 pipes. That is our nervous system, through which energy, motor system, control signal, energy, everything goes. This is called distribution. Supply chain management is done by Vyana. Okay? There is something called Samana. Samana operates in the Madhya Pradesh. So that works on the digestion. All the raw material it takes, converts it into useful material. That is called Samana Vayu. Okay? Then there is something called Apana. That is quality control. Waste must be disposed. Otherwise, you will have a problem. There are Upanishad stories even for that. Okay? So the quality control, maintenance, disposal, that is called Apana Vayu. Okay? Prana. Prana is the CEO. He only directs. He is overall control. So Vyana, Apana, Samana, then Udana. Udana. Ut means up. In Sanskrit, the ut means up. They say udvega means you are charged up. You are agitated. Ud always generally means up. This vayu is called Udana Vayu. You know why? The prana said, when I have to drop the body and go out, you have to rescue me. CEOs always have a contingency plan. CEO has to be recovered by somebody else. It's a very important thing. CEO must be taken care by somebody else. When M.G. Ramachandran died, they went to Pandruti Ramachandran because he was his proxy. Many things about him was with him. When Sanjay Gandhi died, Indira Gandhi immediately went there not to see his son. There was something she has to take from him. That's what I was told. Right or wrong, I do not know. But anyway, so the point is, that is Udana Vayu. Udana Vayu, what it will do is, when the pranan goes, this fellow carries all that vasana and takes it and goes out. How it goes out, it is there in Taittiriya Upanishad. Antare nataluke. There is something, stana iva ava vilambate, just like a breast, it is hanging, the tonsil muscle, no? So, say Indra Yonihi. It even says, if you are a great realized soul, how the prana, the Udana Vayu will go. It comes through it, comes through this place. From there it goes through the Brahmarantra. Through there it has to go. That's why for the yatis, they break their head with coconut. Because the assumption is the prana goes like this. That Taittiriya Upanishad it has. It's called Indra Yoni. Say Indra Yonihi. That's what in Sikshavali you have this mantra. We see Sirsha Kapala. The Kapala is broken, open. That way it goes. Vyapohya Sirsha Kapale. That's what that mantra is. So the Udana's job has 2 roles. One is, this is strategic role. You have to be pulled out. Tactical role is housekeeping. That's why when something comes, a small foreign body enters, it will throw it. That's why it is Ut. That is Udana Vayu. So if you look at every element of our body and you can understand it, you will understand many things about life. That's what, I've just taken it far away from here, but to tell you that these are very, very important things for us to understand. Jihvaikato mama upakarshati karhitarsha shishyonyataha tu agudaram shravanam kutaschit. They're all in complex sandhi. That's why better I split, otherwise I myself cannot read it. It's very difficult. Jihva ekatah. So let me read. Jihvaikatah is Jihva ekatah amum apakarshati karhitarsha. Sishnaha anyataha tu agudaram shravanam kutaschit. Granaha anyataha chapaladrik kvacha karma shaktihi bhakvayaha sapatnyaha iva gehapatim lunanti. He says, if a person has 5 wives, what will happen? You just think. Okay? He says, last line, that's what it says. Bhakvayaha sapatnyaha iva. As though some fellow has several wives. In this case, 5. The examples are 5 actually. Okay. Bhakvaha sapantyaha iva gehapatim lunanti. The owner of this house has 5 wives. All of them are pulling in one direction. That's what it is saying. The first 3 lines, Jikva take you somewhere. First line is about tongue. Amum karshati, ekataha amum karshati. Somewhere it takes, right? Sishnaha, anyataha. The reproductive organ takes him somewhere. Shravanam kutaschit. Sound takes him somewhere. Okay? Granaha. He starts smelling. Smell is not only this smell. I smell something wrong there. That smell is also smell only. I am smelling fishy. That is also smell. Smell need not be only this smell. I am smelling fishy means you are using the notion of smell to understand something. Right? Similarly, eye is not only seeing. I am able to see through what is happening. You say, no? So these are all much bigger. You don't have to narrow scope it. So, granaha, anyataha, chapaladrik. The smell leads him out of chapala somewhere. Kocha karma shaktihi. Where is this ability to do things? You may have so many things to do. You may have capability, but what do we do with that? Because there are 5 wives. Bhakvayaha sapantyaha iva gehapatim lunanti. He says, I learned that from my deha also. That they can distract you from one place to other. They can take you all over the place. Everything they can happen. Even that I have learned from deha. That's what he is saying. Okay. Each one is dragging him somewhere. That is what is happening. It's like managing so many. So that's what he says here. And then he ends with a few things. Labdva sudurlabamidam bahusambhavante manushyamartadamanithyamapiha dhiraha turnam yatetana padedanumrityu yavat nishreyasaya vishaya kalu sarvatasyat. Labdva, having attained, okay, sudurlabam idam, right? This is with I started. Durlabam trayimetat, daivanugraha karanam, manushyatvam. That's the first one. He's talking about that. He's talking about that. Labdva sudurlabam idam bahusambhavante. It is a great blessing to be born as a human being, first of all. Not like a makshika, mosquito. Mosquito's life is probably depending upon your luck and its luck. Mosquito's life is not in his hands. If you want to beat it, finished. Cockroach life is function of how much you want to use flit or hit or something. It all depends on that. We have crossed all those janmas. We should understand that. We have covered a lot of ground already by becoming the most perfect creation that God created for himself and looked at it with awe. That is the Manushya Janma. So, labdva sudurlabam idam bahusambhavante manushyam. That's what he says. Anityam apiha dhiraha, which is deha is all anitya, right? Knowing all that I have talked about, turnam means jaldi, quickly. Okay? Turnam yateta. A wise person understands this opportunity may not come again. Don't waste. Quickly you get to, it's logically where it has to go. That's what he is saying. Turnam yateta. Yatati means goes. Yateta means he will have to go. Napatet. Anumrityu. Yavat. He should not fall back into this birth and death cycle. Anumrityu. Following mrityu. It will be another birth. Again mrityu. Following mrityu. Another birth. Because we shed the seed and go. Yavat. Nishreyasaya. We need Nishreyas, not Abhyudaya. So, Bhagavad Pada, when he wrote a commentary for this word Nishreyas, immediately took me there. When he wrote a commentary for Bhagavad Gita, he wrote a preamble, Upodgata. First line he says, Do vido vedokto dharmaha pravritti lakshano nivritti lakshanascha jagataha praninam jagataha sthiti karanam praninam abhyudaya nishreyasa hetuhu. He says for the human beings, you need abhyudaya and nishreyas. What is this abhyudaya? Abhyudaya is materialism. I want a comfortable house. I want to put my children in a good school. I want to go comfortably. I want to go my place of work to place of home. I want a vehicle. These are all the materialism. That is called abhyudayas. What is nishreyas? Nishreyas is I should be able to come and sleep. If I am not able to sleep, I have no nishreyas. I don't figured out the Atma Ramana in me. Like that Pingala. I have to find the Atma Ramana in me. If I find the Atma Ramana in me, it is Nishreyas. So Nishreyasaya Turnam Yateta. We should reach that state. That's called Nivritti. Vedokto Dharmo. Dvavido Vedokto Dharmo. In Veda, there are two types of dharmas told. Pravritti Dharma and Nivritti Dharma. The Nivritti Dharma is for Nishreyas. Pravritti Dharma is for Abhyudaya. So instead of that, what he does, Visheha Kulu Sarvata Syat. If you get into this Anumrityu, then it will be into Vishaya and then we'll keep on going again and again and then we'll be like that all the time getting into it. That is what it is. Finally, he says, Evam Sanchata Vairagyaha Vijnanalokaha Vijnanaloka Atmani Vicharami mahim yetam mukta sango anahankritihi. Therefore, in this manner, sanchata vairagya, sancharati vairagyena yaha saha. This is bahuvrihi actually. One who is able to loiter with vairagya. I have become like that. This is the adjective for the Avadhuta. Sanchata vairagya vijnana alokaha atmani. With the true science, I am able to see my Atman. Okay? Vicharami. Etam mahim. I go through this earth. Mukta sangaha. I am bereft of all these attachments because these gurus have deeply influenced me. So I am bereft of all these attachments. Mukta sangaha. Anahankritihi. There is no ahankara for me. I understood every part of it. Even my deha also I have understood. What ahankara? Anahankritihi. Like that he said. Okay. Then he says, nahi ekaha asmat guroho jnanam. He finally concludes. I might have told you only 24. Nahi ekaha asmat guroho jnanam ekasmat guroho jnanam No, ekasmat guroho jnanam sustiram syat supushkalam brahmaitat dvitiyam brahmaitat advitiyam vaigiyate bahudarshibihi. After all, Brahman may be one. It may be advitiyam, but it has created the world. All are your gurus here. That's where he is coming to. He says Brahman is one. Brahmaitat advitiyam vai, indeed. Giyate bahudarshibihi. He manifests itself in so many ways. So every one of them is Brahman popping in front of you. They all can be your gurus. I just showed you some 24. That's all I showed you. Okay? Nahi ekasmat guroho jnanam. So you don't have to get your jnanam from a single guru. Because Brahman has created so many entities, all can be your gurus. I showed you 24. Okay? Nahi ekasmat guroho jnanam sustiram syate supushkalam. Why? Because the world is manifestation of Brahman. He is popping up all the time in front of you. It is up to you to get some learning from that. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Jnanam is in the eye of the beholder. Like that. So that is how actually finally told the Avadhuta. Then Krishna came. Krishna is narrating, na? Krishna is narrating this to Uddhava. So the commentator has come back now. Shri Bhagavan okay? Ityuktva sayadum vipraha tamamantriya gabiradihi vanditobhyartito rajna yayau prito yatagatam iti uktva. Having said like this, okay, yadum vipraha tam amantriya gabiradihi. The vipra is a gabiradi. His di is gabhira. Samudramiva gambira. His wisdom was so grand. Gabiradihi vanditaha abhi abhyartitaha. He offered his prostrations and pranams to him. Okay, Ragya yayau prito yatagatam. With a lot of sense of satisfaction, the way he came, he went. He accidentally met the Avadhuta, and Avadhuta took him on a conducted tour. Showed so many things and explained all that. He finally thanked him and then offered his pranams, and then he went his way with a sense of delight, very happily. Prito, pritaha, yatagatam, yatagatam, yatagatam. You can take it either way also. He just went the way he came. He finally very delightfully offered his pranams and went. Avadhuta vachashutva. Having heard all that the Avadhuta said, Purvesham nasa Purvajaha. Who is Yadu? Yadu is Krishna's Purvaja. His ancestor only, no? So he is what he is saying. My ancestor. That was Purvaja. Purvesham sa naha asmakam. Naha means asmakam. Saha Purvajaha. Asmakam Purvesham asmakam Purvesham saha Purvajaha. Sarva Sangha Vinirmuktaha. He must have deeply reflected on all these concepts. It must have affected him so much positively. So he became Sarva Sangha Vinirmuktaha. Sarva Sangha Parityagi. In Gita it says Sarva Sangha Parityagi. Here it says Sarva Sangha Vinirmuktaha. Samachittaha. That Samadhana he attained. Chitta became even. It is not vacillating, it is not agitating. He became a Samachitta. Samachittaha babuvaha. He became very even-minded in his life, Yadu Maharaja, and he developed that sense of detachment. In life, we need what is called detached attachment. I keep doing it in my Bhagavad Gita lecture. I emphasize this. We all must develop detached attachment. What is this oxymoron that you are talking? Okay? You have to attach with the worldly activities. Why? Because we are part of this. This world is a Mahayajna, Bhagavat Leela, Mahayajna. We all are supposed to put our ahuti in that. Nobody can run away. Mate sangastu akarmani. We are all part of a big yajna happening. We are all having a role. So we must put our ahuti. That is the attachment. And what is the detachment? Don't worry about what is the result, what happened to me, what I got, what came out of it, what will happen tomorrow. On all those matters, we have to be mukta sangha samachara. That's what he says. Tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Samyak achara mukta sangha haiva. That was the ninth shloka in chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. It's a beautiful shloka in which he says, Yajnartam lokan anyatra karma bandhanaha. Tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. I think that is the way to live. We should have detached attachment. We should very much get attached to what we have to contribute to the world. After that, we have to detach. Huh? That's all we have to do. That is the message I think finally the Avadhuta gives. I very thankful to you for taking off your time because to take 5 days like this is not easy because we are all busy in our own ways. It is purely the Bhagavad Anugraha we came here. I don't think with our buddhi, iddhi and all we'll decide to come. If somebody says I am going to come, that day I thought God has blessed because we can't do all that. We will find our mind will give 100 reasons why there are so many pressing things to be done in our life, which are all maybe true at one level. So I think it is the grace of Sri Krishna that we came here. And Bhagavata Shravanam is always very good. After all, it is Bhagavata. A tiny portion of the Bhagavatam we have taken. Instead of Saptaha, we have done Panchadinas. Okay? But Bhagavata Shravanam is Bhagavata Shravanam. That will endow so much of grace in us. So I pray to, Yogeshwara Krishna that his grace shall befall on all of us. I think we have taken Samyak Vyavasito Stitaha, we are all. We have resolved that we should find who we are. That has happened with the grace of God. I think let the presiding deities of Manjakudi, whose grace has been falling on us for the last few days. Unfortunately, today we could not. That is okay. Let the presiding deities of Manjakudi, your Ishta Devata, your Kula Devata, let all of them bless us, give us that frame of mind to be in the worldly activities with attachment and detachment, and give us that mumukshutva for which we will have to come one day or other. Thank you for your patience. I am blessed. I am very thankful, grateful to all of you because you made me think like this for the last 5 days. I always tell my students anywhere that I offer my pranams to all of you because of you I thought. And you made me, seriously contemplate, for which I am eternally grateful to you. Thank you. So I think we will take a 15 minutes break. We have taken an extended session today, 11:15. We'll take a 15 minutes break and then Karthik and Ramesh want to do some closing formalities, which we will do it. By that, we'll bring it to a formal closure. Thank you. श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु श्री जगदम्बार्पणमस्तु श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम. We'll take a 15 minutes break.